Kai loved the sea. He loved the smell of salt in the air, the sound of waves crashing against the rocks, and the way the sunlight danced on the water in the morning. But more than anything, he loved discovering places that were forgotten by time. That day, as he walked along the jagged coastline, he noticed something unusual sticking out of the shallow water. A large, rusted shape slowly became clear as he approached. It was an old shipwreck. The ship had clearly been there for decades. Its metal hull was rusty and pitted, and parts of it had broken away, leaving jagged edges that reflected the sunlight. Wooden beams were splintered, and barnacles clung stubbornly to the surfaces. Despite its ruin, the ship had a strange beauty. It looked like it was frozen in time, holding stories that no one had heard for years. Kai felt a thrill of excitement. He had explored old buildings, caves, and even abandoned factories, but a shipwreck so close to his home was rare. He took out his small notebook and began sketching the outline of the ship, noting the places he might explore. Each step closer to the wreck made his heart beat faster, not with fear, but with curiosity. As he reached the edge of the shore, he noticed someone else. A young woman was standing near the wreck, holding a sketch pad and pencil. Her hair was tied back, and her clothes were splattered with a little mud. She was focused entirely on her drawing, her eyes scanning the ship as if she could see its history written on its rusted walls. Kai hesitated for a moment. He didn't want to disturb her, but curiosity got the better of him. "Hello," he said gently. The girl looked up, a little startled. Then she smiled. "Hi," she said. "I didn't hear you coming." "I didn't mean to scare you," Kai said. "I was just looking at the ship. It's amazing." She nodded. "It is. I come here to draw it sometimes. There's something about forgotten places that feels alive, don't you think?" Kai grinned. "Exactly. I love exploring old places. There's always a story waiting to be discovered." Her name was Myra, and as they talked, Kai learned that she was an artist. She loved capturing the beauty of things that others ignored. She explained that the ship had been here for as long as she could remember, and every visit revealed something new to her. Kai shared his own stories of exploration and adventure, and Myra listened with interest, occasionally pointing out details about the ship he had missed. It was easy to talk to her. Her curiosity matched his own, and her excitement about the ship made him see it in a new way. Together, they decided to explore it. They carefully stepped over broken wood and rusted metal, helping each other when the surfaces were slippery. Myra's eyes lit up every time she found something interesting: a carved symbol on the railing, a faded painting on a wall, a small compartment that might have once held supplies. Kai was impressed by her courage. The ship was old and dangerous, but Myra moved with confidence, never hesitating. He realized that he enjoyed her company more than he expected. There was a spark in her eyes that mirrored his own excitement, and every time she laughed at something he said, he felt a warmth in his chest that was new and thrilling. They found a small area of the ship that was mostly intact. It looked like a cabin from long ago, with wooden walls and a small window that let in the sunlight. Dust and sand covered the floor, but it didn't hide the sense of history that the space held. They sat together on the floor, talking about their dreams. Myra spoke about becoming an artist and seeing the world, while Kai shared his plans to explore places no one else dared to go. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, they stepped outside and watched it cast golden light on the rusted ship. The water shimmered, and the sky turned pink and orange. They were quiet for a moment, both feeling the magic of the place and the new friendship that was growing between them. Kai realized that this discovery was different from all the others. It wasn't just the ship that fascinated him, but the way Myra saw it, the way she made everything seem alive. He felt a strange mix of excitement and comfort, like he had found someone who understood him in a way few people did. Finally, they decided to leave the ship, promising to return another day. As they walked back along the shore, the waves lapping at their feet, Kai couldn't help but glance at Myra. There was a quiet connection between them, unspoken but undeniable. And as the ship disappeared behind them in the twilight, Kai felt certain that this adventure was just the beginning, not just of exploring the ship, but of something far more exciting and unforgettable. The next morning, Kai could hardly wait to return to the shipwreck. The memory of the sun reflecting on the rusted metal, and the laughter he shared with Myra, lingered in his mind. He walked along the coastline, scanning the waves for any sign of her. To his delight, Myra was already there, her sketchpad in hand, sitting on a rock near the water. She waved at him, her smile bright and welcoming. "Good morning, Kai," she called. "I couldn't wait to see the ship again." Kai grinned. "Me neither. I hope today we find something even more interesting." Together, they approached the wreck, stepping carefully over the rocks and old beams. The tide had shifted overnight, revealing parts of the ship that had been hidden before. Pieces of metal that had been submerged were now visible, and old ropes and nets had washed up on the sand. Kai and Myra felt like explorers discovering a secret world, one that belonged only to them. "This part looks different," Myra said, pointing to a section of the hull near the back of the ship. "It wasn't visible yesterday." Kai nodded, excitement lighting his face. "Let's check it out." They climbed carefully, supporting each other as they navigated the uneven surfaces. The ship creaked and groaned under their weight, but both were careful and moved with respect for the old structure. Myra crouched to examine a small hatch partially hidden under a fallen beam. "Do you think it leads somewhere?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Kai crouched beside her. "Only one way to find out." He carefully lifted the hatch, revealing a small storage compartment. Inside, they found old tools, a few glass bottles, and a stack of yellowed papers tied with a fraying string. Myra's eyes widened. "These must be really old." Kai carefully untied the string and lifted the papers. They were letters and notes from the crew who had once sailed the ship. Some were faded almost beyond reading, but a few lines were still clear: stories of the journey, sketches of distant shores, and dreams of adventure. "They wrote about their hopes," Kai said softly, looking at Myra. "It's amazing to see how much they dreamed about the world." Myra nodded. "It feels like they left a part of themselves here. And now we get to see it." She carefully flipped through the pages, her fingers tracing the words as if connecting with the people who had written them. After a few moments, they sat together on a beam, reading the letters in silence. The sun warmed their faces, and the wind carried the salty smell of the sea. Kai realized how much he enjoyed Myra's presence. She wasn't just a companion in adventure, she seemed to understand the feelings he had about the world, about exploring, and about finding beauty in forgotten things. "Look at this one," Myra said, pointing to a drawing in the letter. It was a small sketch of a distant island, surrounded by waves. "They dreamed of places far away, just like us." Kai smiled. "Yes, and maybe that's why we were drawn to this ship. It connects the past to us." They spent hours exploring the ship, finding hidden corners, small rooms, and unusual objects left behind. Every discovery brought laughter and shared excitement. Sometimes Kai would hold a beam steady for Myra as she leaned to sketch, and sometimes she would pass him a note or object she thought he might find interesting. Their teamwork felt natural, like two pieces of a puzzle fitting together. As the afternoon sun began to lower, painting the sky with soft orange and pink hues, Kai and Myra climbed to the highest part of the wreck. They sat side by side, legs dangling over the edge, watching the waves crash below. Neither spoke for a while, enjoying the calm and the feeling of shared adventure. "I'm glad we found this place together," Kai said finally, breaking the silence. Myra smiled softly. "Me too. It's not just the ship, it's everything. The history, the discovery, and you." Kai felt a warmth spread through him at her words. He wanted to tell her that he felt the same, but he hesitated, unsure if it was too soon. Instead, he simply nodded and turned to look at the horizon, feeling a quiet connection that needed no words. As the sun dipped lower, they carefully made their way back to the shore, promising to return soon. Both felt that this was only the beginning of something special. The shipwreck had given them adventure, discovery, and the first threads of a friendship that was slowly transforming into something deeper. Walking back along the beach, Kai realized that the world was full of wonders, but the greatest discovery of all might be the bond he was forming with Myra. And somewhere in the rusted beams and hidden compartments of the ship, it felt like the past was smiling at the present, giving two curious hearts a reason to dream together. The day started bright and clear. Kai and Myra had planned to return to the shipwreck, eager to continue exploring and discovering more hidden corners of the old vessel. The sea sparkled under the morning sun, and the gentle breeze carried the familiar scent of salt and seaweed. Everything seemed calm and perfect. As they approached the wreck, Kai noticed dark clouds gathering on the horizon. "Looks like the weather is changing," he said, pointing toward the distant sky. Myra glanced up. "It's moving fast. Maybe we should be careful." But their curiosity won over caution. The shipwreck called to them, and they carefully climbed onto the rusted deck. The wind was stronger here, tugging at their clothes and hair, but they pressed on, excited by the adventure. As they explored, the clouds darkened, and the first drops of rain began to fall. At first, it was just a light drizzle, but soon it turned into a steady downpour. The deck became slippery, and the wind howled around the broken masts and beams. Kai glanced at Myra. "We should find shelter." They searched for a safe spot and discovered an area of the ship that had a partially intact roof. The space was small, with wooden walls and a few openings that let in the cold, wet air. They squeezed inside, sitting close together to stay warm. The storm raged outside, shaking the ship and sending loud crashes of water against the hull. Inside, the confined space forced them to sit shoulder to shoulder. At first, they stayed quiet, listening to the storm, but soon the fear and excitement brought them into conversation. "I didn't think it would get this bad," Myra said, shivering slightly. Kai handed her his jacket. "It's all right. We're safe here for now. The ship might be old, but it's holding strong." They laughed nervously, sharing the tension of the storm. The closeness of the small space made them notice each other more, how Myra's hair stuck to her damp face, the way her eyes sparkled despite the rain, and how her laughter could cut through even the roar of the storm. Kai felt a strange warmth in his chest, a feeling that went beyond friendship, but he didn't know how to express it. As the minutes passed, their conversation became more personal. Myra spoke about her dreams, about wanting to become an artist and see the world beyond her small town. "Sometimes I feel trapped," she admitted softly. "Like my life is already planned, and I have no choice." Kai listened, understanding more than she knew. "I know what you mean," he said. I want to explore everything, see new places, meet new people, but I feel tied down here too. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever get the chance to really live my dreams. Myra turned to look at him, her expression thoughtful. Maybe that's why we came here. Maybe we need moments like this to remind us that life isn't just about what we're told to do. It's about what we want to do. Kai nodded. You're right. And sharing it with someone makes it even better. The storm continued outside, but inside, a sense of comfort and understanding grew between them. They talked about small things too: the colors of the sea, the shapes of the clouds, the sounds of the waves hitting the shore. Each shared moment, each laugh, strengthened the connection forming between them. As the rain began to lighten, Kai and Myra peeked outside. The storm was passing, leaving behind a sky streaked with gray and gold from the setting sun. They stepped out onto the deck, careful with each step, and found themselves looking at the horizon together. The storm had passed, but something had changed. Their shared experience, the fear, the excitement, the quiet conversations had drawn them closer. They didn't need words to understand the bond that had grown. The shipwreck, with its rusted beams and hidden corners, had become more than a place of discovery. It had become a place where they could truly connect. Kai glanced at Myra and smiled. She returned the smile, and for a brief moment, neither said a word, yet both felt the same thing, a growing closeness, a spark of something new and exciting. The storm had tested them, but it had also brought them together, reminding them that courage and trust were not just for exploring the world, they were also for opening their hearts. As they climbed down to the shore, water dripping from their clothes, Kai felt certain of one thing. No matter what adventures awaited them, no matter how far they might travel, this moment, this shared experience of wonder, fear, and connection would remain with them forever. And Myra, walking beside him with the sun glinting off the wet sand, felt the same way. After the storm, the coastline seemed brighter, almost as if the world itself had been washed clean. Kai and Myra returned to the shipwreck the next morning, carrying backpacks with water and small snacks. The wreck looked different under the soft sunlight. The rusted metal glowed in warm tones, and the waves lapped gently at its base, making it seem peaceful rather than dangerous. As they stepped onto the deck, Kai glanced at Myra. It feels different today, he said softly. Myra smiled. Yes. After yesterday, everything seems calmer. Maybe we can focus on the smaller details today. They moved slowly, carefully examining the ship. Kai noticed how Myra studied every surface with care, how her eyes lingered on patterns in the rust, how her fingers traced shapes in the wood. He admired her attention to detail and her ability to see beauty where others might only see decay. After a while, they sat in a quiet corner of the wreck, where a small cabin still had a mostly intact roof. It was a sheltered spot, perfect for resting. Myra pulled out her sketchpad and began drawing, while Kai leaned against the wall, looking out at the sea. The silence was comfortable, not awkward, and both seemed content to share the quiet together. Finally, Myra spoke, her voice gentle. Kai, can I tell you something? Kai turned to her, giving her his full attention. Of course. You can tell me anything. Myra hesitated, looking down at her hands. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a life that isn't mine. My family, they want me to follow a certain path. They think it's safe, practical, but it's not what I want. I love art. I love exploring, discovering things. But it feels like I have to choose between my dreams and what others expect of me. Kai listened carefully, feeling a deep respect for her honesty. I understand, he said quietly. I feel the same way sometimes. I want to explore, see the world, and experience everything I can. But there's always something holding me back: responsibility, expectations, fear. It's not easy. Myra looked up, meeting his eyes. It's hard to talk about it with anyone. Most people don't understand. But you get it? You feel it too? Kai smiled gently. I do. And it's nice to know I'm not alone. I think, maybe that's why we keep coming back here. This place, it reminds us that there's more to life than rules and expectations. There's adventure, and beauty, and freedom. And sharing it with someone else, that makes it even better. Myra nodded, a small smile appearing on her face. Yes. That's exactly it. And I feel safe with you, Kai. Like I can be myself. Kai felt a warmth spread through his chest. I feel the same way, Myra. Being here with you, it makes everything feel more real. More possible. For a long moment, they were quiet, listening to the gentle sound of the waves outside. The shipwreck seemed to hold them in its embrace, a quiet space apart from the rest of the world. Both of them realized that this connection they were forming was deeper than friendship. It was built on trust, shared experiences, and understanding each other's dreams and fears. Myra closed her sketchpad and stretched. I think we make a good team, Kai. Not just in exploring, but in life. Kai laughed softly. I agree. You're brave, smart, and inspiring. I think we both bring out the best in each other. Myra blushed slightly, looking away for a moment before meeting his gaze again. I think so too. I've never felt this comfortable with anyone before. The sun climbed higher, casting warm light into the cabin. Kai and Myra packed their things, but neither wanted to leave the peaceful space. They walked back toward the shore slowly, enjoying the quiet and the shared sense of understanding. As they reached the beach, Kai paused and looked at Myra. No matter what happens, I want you to follow your dreams. And I want to find a way to follow mine too. Maybe, we can help each other. Myra smiled, her eyes shining. Yes. We can help each other. And who knows, maybe our adventures together will lead to something amazing. The waves lapped at their feet, and the wind carried a sense of possibility. The shipwreck, once a lonely and forgotten place, had become a symbol of hope and courage. It was more than metal and wood. It was a space where dreams could grow, where fears could be shared, and where a friendship could become something even stronger. Kai and Myra walked along the beach, side by side, feeling that the world was full of opportunities. They didn't know what the future held, but for the first time, both felt ready to face it together. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and gold. Kai and Myra had returned to the shipwreck once more, carrying only a small bag with water and a few snacks. The air was warm, and the gentle sound of waves created a peaceful rhythm. The rusted ship looked magical in the evening light, its jagged edges softened by the glow of the sun. Kai climbed up onto a section of the deck that was still intact, holding out a hand to Myra. Come on, the view from here is amazing, he said with a grin. Myra laughed and took his hand, letting him help her over the uneven metal. You always find the best spots, she said. They reached the top of the wreck and stood side by side, looking out at the endless sea. The horizon stretched like a painted canvas, with the sun slowly sinking into the water. The warmth of the light reflected on their faces, and for a moment, neither spoke. They just watched, lost in the beauty of the scene and the quiet companionship they shared. Kai turned to Myra, his voice soft. "I'm glad we found this place together. It's more than just an old ship. It feels like it belongs to us now." Myra smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden light. "Yes, it does. And I feel happy being here with you. It's different from anywhere else I've been." They sat down on a wide beam near the edge of the deck, their legs dangling over the side. Myra pulled out her sketchpad and began to draw, capturing the colors of the sky and the outline of the shipwreck. Kai watched her quietly, noticing how focused she was, how her pencil moved with confidence and care. He realized how much he admired her courage, her curiosity, and the way she saw beauty in everything. After a while, Kai took a small stone from the deck and tossed it lightly into the sea. "Do you ever think about the people who sailed this ship?" he asked. Myra looked up from her sketchpad. "Sometimes. I wonder what their lives were like, what they dreamed about. And now we're here, seeing it all after so many years. It makes me feel connected to them, in a strange way." Kai nodded. "Yes. And it makes me think about the future too. About all the adventures we could have. Life is full of moments like this, waiting for us to notice them." Myra turned slightly toward him, a thoughtful expression on her face. "I'm glad we share these moments. I feel like we understand each other in a way no one else does." Kai's heart beat a little faster. He wanted to say more, but he hesitated. Instead, he reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Myra didn't pull back, she simply smiled and held his gaze. The sun continued to sink, casting long shadows across the rusted metal. The sky shifted from pink to deep orange, and the air grew cooler. Kai and Myra remained close, their shoulders touching, their hands occasionally brushing as they shared the view. It was a simple moment, quiet and calm, but charged with a feeling they hadn't fully admitted yet. Myra laughed softly, breaking the silence. "I think this might be my favorite spot now. Even better than anywhere else I've drawn." Kai smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "I feel the same way. It's perfect, almost like it was waiting for us." They sat together in silence for a while, watching as the sun disappeared behind the horizon. The sky darkened, and the first stars began to appear. The shipwreck seemed to glow softly under the evening light, a reminder of the adventures they had shared and the connection that had grown between them. Kai felt a sudden courage. He turned to Myra, looking into her eyes. "Myra, I think I've wanted to tell you this for a while. Being with you, it feels different. Special. And I really like you." Myra's cheeks turned slightly pink, but she didn't look away. "I like you too, Kai," she admitted softly. "I think I've been feeling this for a while, but I wasn't sure if I should say it." A quiet happiness settled between them. They didn't need to speak again, the feelings were clear, shared in smiles, glances, and the gentle warmth of being together. The rusted ship, once a forgotten relic, had become a place of discovery in more ways than one. It had brought them together, shown them courage, and allowed them to feel something new and wonderful. As the stars twinkled above and the waves whispered below, Kai and Myra stayed on the deck, side by side, enjoying the quiet, the beauty of the world, and the beginning of a bond that promised many adventures to come. The morning air was fresh, carrying the smell of salt and seaweed as Kai and Myra returned to the shipwreck. The waves lapped gently against the rusted hull, and the sun sparkled on the water like tiny diamonds. Today, they both felt a sense of excitement, as if the ship had something special waiting for them. Kai led the way onto the deck, careful to avoid loose metal and broken wood. Myra followed, her sketchpad tucked under her arm. "I wonder what we'll find today," she said with a smile. "Something new, I'm sure," Kai replied. "There's always more to discover here." They moved slowly, exploring the upper sections of the wreck. As they reached a part that sloped toward the water, Kai noticed a loose beam near the edge. "Be careful," he warned. "This part looks unstable." Myra nodded and stepped carefully, but as she reached a small opening to peek inside a cabin, the beam beneath her shifted. She lost her balance for a moment, and Kai reacted instantly. He grabbed her hand, pulling her back to safety. "I'm okay," Myra said quickly, her voice a little shaky. "Thanks to you." Kai smiled, relieved. "That was close. Are you hurt?" "No, just a little shaken," she replied, brushing off her clothes. "I guess this ship still has surprises for us." They laughed softly, the tension easing. But the incident reminded them how fragile the wreck could be. Kai suggested they take a break, and they sat together on a wide beam, dangling their legs over the edge. The wind was gentle, and the sun warmed their faces. Myra opened her sketchpad and began drawing the view of the horizon, the waves, and the rusted metal around them. Kai watched her quietly, noticing how focused she was and how peaceful she looked. It made his chest feel warm, a feeling he couldn't fully explain. "You're really good at this," he said softly. "I love how you capture everything, even the little details that most people would miss." Myra looked up and smiled. "Thanks, Kai. I like capturing moments that feel special. And moments with you feel very special." Kai felt his heart beat faster. He wanted to say something more, something that expressed what he felt, but he hesitated. Instead, he simply said, "I feel the same way." They sat together quietly for a while, enjoying the sound of the waves and the gentle movement of the ship. Then Myra pointed to a small opening in the deck below. "Do you want to see what's down there?" she asked. Kai nodded, and they carefully climbed down, helping each other over the uneven surfaces. Inside the lower deck, they discovered a small room that was mostly intact. Sunlight streamed through a hole in the hull, illuminating dust particles that floated in the air like tiny stars. Myra knelt to examine the room, and Kai explored nearby, finding a few objects left behind long ago. There was a small chest, locked but partially broken, and inside it were old trinkets, a compass, a small book, and a folded piece of paper. "Look at this," Kai said, handing the paper to Myra. It was a note, faded but readable, describing a sailor's hope to travel the world and see new places. "It's like they wanted adventures just like ours." Myra smiled, holding the note carefully. "It's amazing how their dreams live on, even after so long." They shared a quiet moment, both realizing that their own adventures were just beginning. Kai felt a sudden courage. He reached out and gently took Myra's hand. She didn't pull away, instead looking at him with soft eyes. "Myra," Kai said, his voice low and sincere, "I want you to know, being with you means more to me than anything else. You make every moment feel alive." Myra's cheeks flushed, and she squeezed his hand. "I feel the same way, Kai. I've never felt this close to anyone before." Kai leaned closer, and Myra didn't move back. Their faces were inches apart, and the world around them seemed to fade. With a gentle, careful movement, Kai pressed his lips to hers. The kiss was soft and full of the promise of something new, a moment of connection they had both been waiting for. When they pulled back, they smiled at each other, hearts racing, feeling the excitement of shared feelings and new beginnings. The shipwreck, once a lonely and forgotten place, had become a symbol of courage, trust, and love. They stayed in that small room for a while longer, sitting side by side, holding hands, and talking quietly. The adventure of the day had brought them closer, and the first kiss had opened a door to feelings they were only beginning to understand. As they climbed back to the deck and watched the sun sink toward the horizon, Kai knew one thing for certain: no matter where life took them, this moment, this connection, and this shipwreck would always be a part of their story. The morning sun rose gently over the coastline, painting the waves with gold and silver. Kai and Myra walked along the shore, their fingers intertwined, feeling the sand beneath their feet and the cool water lapping at their ankles. The rusted shipwreck lay behind them, silent and proud, a witness to the adventures they had shared and the bond they had formed. Kai glanced at Myra, a smile spreading across his face. "I can't believe how much has changed since we first found that ship," he said. Myra laughed softly, her eyes sparkling. "It feels like a lifetime ago. And yet, it also feels like yesterday. Every moment there has been unforgettable." They reached the remains of the deck where they had first explored, stepping carefully over broken beams and rusted metal. Myra knelt down, tracing her fingers over the surface of the wood, feeling the texture and imagining the stories it held. "This place, it's like it gave us something more than adventure," she said quietly. "It gave us memories, courage, and each other." Kai nodded, squeezing her hand. "It's more than just a shipwreck now. It's a symbol of what we can do together. Whatever challenges come, we'll face them as a team." They spent the day exploring the parts of the wreck they had missed before. Every room, every hidden corner, every rusted object seemed to tell a story. They laughed as they discovered old ropes tangled in knots, and smiled as they uncovered small compartments holding fragments of the past. Kai showed Myra how to climb more carefully over the unstable beams, and Myra shared her artistic perspective, pointing out patterns and colors in the rust that he had never noticed. As the sun began to lower in the sky, Kai and Myra found a wide, flat section of the deck where they could sit and watch the horizon. The waves shimmered with the light of the setting sun, and the sky turned pink, orange, and violet in soft gradients. They leaned against each other, enjoying the warmth of the moment and the comfort of their companionship. "I never thought a forgotten ship could mean so much," Kai said softly. "It's strange, how something broken and abandoned can bring so much life and joy to someone." Myra rested her head on his shoulder. "It's like life itself, isn't it? Even when things seem lost or forgotten, there's always hope, beauty, and a chance for something new to grow." Kai smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. "I'm glad we found this place together. And I'm glad I found you." Myra lifted her head, looking into his eyes. "I'm glad too, Kai. You've made everything more exciting, more meaningful. I don't want to imagine my adventures without you." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, letting the gentle sound of the waves fill the space between words. Kai reached over and took Myra's hand in both of his, holding it gently. She leaned closer, resting her head against his shoulder again. "I think we should make a promise," Kai said after a few moments. "No matter what happens in the future, we'll face it together. We'll continue to explore, to dream, and to support each other." Myra smiled, her eyes shining with warmth. "I promise, Kai. Whatever comes, we'll be together." The sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting the last golden light across the shipwreck and the shore. Kai and Myra watched the stars appear, one by one, in the deepening blue sky. It felt like the universe itself was blessing their promise, creating a quiet magic in the night. They decided to leave the ship for the evening, but neither felt a sense of finality. The shipwreck would always be there, waiting for them, a place where the past and present met, where memories and dreams intertwined. Walking back along the shore, they talked about their plans for the future: more adventures, more discoveries, more shared moments. Kai wanted to explore other coastlines, Myra wanted to capture new sights in her art, and together, they dreamed of traveling to places they had only imagined. As they reached the edge of the beach, Kai paused and looked at Myra. "No matter where we go, this will always be our starting point. The place where everything began." Myra smiled, squeezing his hand. "Yes. And it will always remind us of courage, friendship, and love." The two of them stood there for a moment, feeling the gentle breeze, the sound of the waves, and the quiet presence of the shipwreck behind them. The adventure had started with curiosity and exploration, but it had grown into something far greater: trust, connection, and the promise of a shared future. Together, Kai and Myra walked toward the town, their steps light, their hearts full, and their spirits ready for the next chapter of life. The rusted shipwreck faded behind them in the twilight, but its memory and the passion it had inspired would remain with them forever. In the quiet glow of the evening, two young hearts had discovered not only a forgotten world but also the strength, courage, and love that came from sharing life's journey with someone who truly understood them.